Thank you so much, Amanda. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Ina Rodriguez. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm an admissions coordinator here at Columbia Public Health. Later on, you'll hear from my colleague, Charles Ariano, who's the Director of Financial Aid. So to begin our presentation, we will start by defining what is public health. So public health is the science and art of protecting and improving the health of populations through education, promotion of healthy lifestyles, and research for disease and injury prevention. So it's a little different from medicine. In public health, we prevent disease and injury. So public health practitioners and researchers, they're working with communities and populations to identify the causes of disease and disability and to implement large-scale solutions. A good example of public health is how in the last 100 years, public health has increased life expectancy by 45 years. And that's all thanks to things like vaccine development, access to clean drinking water, and educating populations on living a healthy lifestyle. When you apply to the Columbia MPH 4+1 program, this is the general format. So in addition to your bachelor's, which you will earn from Barnard, you will also have the opportunity to study away in the fall of your senior year to begin earning credits towards your MPH at Columbia. So you would complete your master's in the year after completing your bachelor's. So this semester right here, your fall semester, your senior year, you'll be enrolled with us, completing the core curriculum, which we'll get into. During this time, you are considered a Barnard student, but you're just beginning your MPH core credits. After that semester, you then go back to Barnard for the spring, and you finish your Barnard requirements. That summer, you get to enjoy your life, but then you return to us for that final year, and this is when you complete your MPH requirements. You are enrolled in your discipline, in leadership, integration of science and practice, and then you complete a practicum over the summer. So your degree is actually conferred in October after completing these things, and I'll go into detail. So for the core curriculum, this is what it looks like. We actually recommend that you don't have any extracurricular activities during the fall semester of your senior year, and it's because of this core curriculum structure. So if you have any requirements that you must complete at Barnard during the core schedule, you would have to let us know so that we can work with your schedule so that you can still complete what's required from you. So the core curriculum, this is a hallmark of our program. We actually created this in 2012, and it was so successful that since then, other public health schools have incorporated a core curriculum as part of their public health structure. So it consists of 6 different studios. You see foundations of public health, research methods and application, determinants of health, public health interventions, global and developmental perspectives, and health systems. So within each of these 6 studios, there are 16 modules, and these are taught by faculty across our 6 departments. So you're really getting an interdisciplinary perspective here. The modules do build on each other. So it's not that you're taking all of these at once. You might be discussing an issue in ethics and foundation of public health, and then discussing how to quantitatively research that issue in research methods and applications. The content does build on itself. So some of the courses do run the full length of the program, for example, research methods and applications, but others come in and out at other points. So everyone starts with foundations of public health, but you don't really get into the health systems courses until you're halfway through the term, because you would need some bases in these different areas of public health before you get to these courses. I know that's confusing and a lot for right now, but our students are supported during this core curriculum structure. You're also enrolled in leadership. So this is once you come back after obtaining your bachelor's at Barnard. This is when you are enrolled in Columbia Public Health. You're enrolled in leadership, where we teach you leadership skills because it is a professional degree. So during the course, you learn how to effectively have working relationships and how to implement innovative solutions in the workplace. Integration of science and practice. This is a 2-semester course where you're with a small group of students. So in the core curriculum, you're looking at about 125 to 150 students in the classroom. And that's because every MPH student has to take the core curriculum. But once you get into your departmental courses, it does break down into about 20 to 25 students per class. So in integration of science and practice, it is a case-based course, and you're investigating how the things that you learned during the core curriculum come together. A lot of students say that this is their favorite course, and this is where they meet their lifelong public health friends. For example, you'll look at an issue like a ban on trans fats, and then you'll discuss what are the benefits of this policy. How can you implement something like this in New York City? So it's a really cool case-based course. I mentioned that you must complete a practicum after you're done with your department courses and your requirements. So you are completing your practicum the summer after your year with us, and all students have to participate in the practicum. You can engage in research with faculty, or you can do public health related volunteer work. There's opportunities to also complete your practicum internationally if you don't want to complete it in the United States. And we'll assist you with that. We have a field practice team that's dedicated in helping our students find field practice placement, as well as your department will provide a list of organizations that you can contact. But this is where you're getting that hands-on experience in the field of public health. For student life, you have a very active student life. We have, I think, over 25 active student-led organizations now. And these organizations have a variety of focuses. Some students are involved in community-based organizations or affinity groups, such as the Black and Latinx Student Caucus, or maybe the Queer Health Task Force, for example. So there's also opportunities to learn outside of the classroom. We have ground rounds, which occur on our campus monthly, and all of the departments are always hosting different talks throughout the year. Here I mentioned the Office of Diversity, Culture, and Inclusion. We do have our own Office of Diversity. And through this office came a program which we call SSGA, which stands for Self, Social, and Global Awareness. All of our students are required to complete this during orientation before they begin the program. And during this, faculty and students come together to discuss how our privilege and perspectives influence the way that we engage in public health and scientific work. We also have mentorship programs available for first-generation students and their allies, such as RISE, where you're paired with a first-generation second-year student, or Mosaic, where you're matched with a faculty member. We have an amazing career service team. They host a variety of workshops throughout the year based on salary negotiations, resume review. They also do mock interviews. Every Monday, our students do receive an email informing them of different employment opportunities, internship, volunteer work, things like that. We do provide housing on our campus. You don't have to worry about that during the senior year of your fall semester, because you are a Barnard student just taking classes with us in Washington Heights. But once you decide, once you come back to complete your MPH in 1 year, we do provide housing. They do range. We have studios to 1 to 4 bedroom apartments available, as well as single dorm style. And then here you see IPE Day. So on our campus, we also have Columbia Medical, Columbia Dental, Nursing, and we also have occupational therapy programs. So on IPE Day, we cancel classes across the board for all of these schools, and we invite you to participate. So since we're on this campus, you have the opportunity to ask students across these different fields to come together and think about health-related questions. So it's a great opportunity for you as a public health student to help translate to our clinical students the idea of how something that they're looking at on an individual patient basis can apply to a population and vice versa. I spoke about career service and the amazing job that they're doing. So this is just some data on that. 6 months after graduation, we do host a survey. So this is for the class of 2022. We'll have the class of 2023 sometime in December or January. So basically 88% were already employed 6 months after graduating, and 8% decided to continue their education, either a second master's or a doctoral degree, and only 2% were still seeking. So the career service team is doing an amazing job. The Dean of Career Services is Heather Krasna, and she's one of the only authors that currently has a book titled 101 Careers in Public Health. So someone super knowledgeable guiding our students. These are the different sectors our students are employed in. So you see a lot of consultants coming out of this program. Many people do stay within the hospital healthcare system. As you can see, you could branch out into pharmaceutical companies, technology companies, nonprofit organizations. We celebrated 100 years of public health last year, and our slogan was "Public health is everything," because there's so many different opportunities to do different types of work and it still be considered public health. And these are the job titles that many had. So like I mentioned before, a lot of consultants, management, administration, program managers, researchers, educators. And then this is an example of the different employers that our grads from the class of 2022 were employed with. So you'll see a few marketing firms, nonprofit organizations, government and humanitarian agencies, research and consulting groups. So the career service team does host a fair, actually a few fairs throughout the year, where they invite over 70 employers to come to our campus to meet our students. And they also do this in a virtual format as well. Now to give you the general background of our school, maybe now you're thinking you want to apply. We currently educate about 1,600 students, so it's a very small program. We offer the six following departments: biostatistics, environmental health sciences, epidemiology, health policy and management, population and family health, socio-medical sciences. And then we offer 5-degree programs: Masters of Public Health, Masters of Healthcare Administration, Masters of Science, and 2 doctoral degrees. The reason why this is important here to know which department you're interested in is that the department that you're applying to will be the one reviewing your application. So you want to make sure that your public health goals aligns with that department's mission. So this slide here will give you an example of the different classes that students in each department is taking. So with biostatistics, these students are addressing emerging areas in public health involving the collection and analysis of massive complex data sets. So big data. And fun fact, biostatistics, our program was the first in the nation. For environmental health sciences, these students are looking at environmental health science and population-based approaches to tackle issues in the fields of epidemics, exposure science, toxicology, climate, and health. So issues like cancer, asthma, and environmental policy. For epidemiology, these students are studying patterns and causes of illnesses and injury. Health policy and management, I like to say this is like the business side of the healthcare system. So they're researching the development, implementation, and evaluation of health policies and administrative functioning of the health system. For population and family health, they're studying the legal, policy, and human rights dimensions of public health, particularly in low-income environments. So focusing on things like reproductive health, sexual health, migrant populations, and children's health. Last but not least, we have socio-medical science. So these students are dedicated to understanding the social forces that can influence health. So things like how your race, your gender, ethnicity, your sexuality, maybe your social condition like poverty, how these things can influence our health outcome. So hopefully that gives you a better sense of which department you're interested in applying to. All of these are open to you as a Barnard student for you to apply for the 4+1. If, let's say, you don't get into the 4+1 program or you decide it's not a good fit for you, this is the overview of the 2-year Columbia MPH. It is exactly the same as what I went over. You still have the core curriculum, integration of science and practice, a practicum, and leadership. The only difference is that students in our 2-year MPH also enroll in a certificate. The benefit of the certificate is that, let's say you have multiple areas of interest in public health, you can pick a different department to focus your certificate with, or maybe you want to dive deeper into your discipline, your department of choice, right? This is when a certificate will be valuable to you. So just wanted to mention that just in case you are interested in something else. This is our 2-year MPH. The application requirements, you must speak to your advisor. Just ensure that it is a right fit for you and you wouldn't be held behind with your Barnard requirements if you decide to do this in the senior year of your fall semester. Sorry, in the fall semester of your senior year. We don't have any prerequisites when it comes to your major. Again, public health is everything. So you can come from any background, but you must have at least one college math course. Statistics or calculus is preferred. If you're interested in biostatistics, you need at least 1 year of calculus. If you're interested in environmental health, you need at least 1 year of biology and 1 year of chemistry. Usually for our 2-year MPH, we have a holistic review process, so we don't have a GPA cutoff, but for the 4+1 program, we do. It's a 3.5 minimum GPA. And this is just because the core curriculum is very quantitatively, it's quant heavy, the courses. So we need to ensure that you're able to handle the material. So you must submit a completed Columbia 4+1 application. You have to submit a 500-word statement of purpose. In this statement of purpose, tell us, what was your call to action in the field to public health? What made you interested in public health? What are your career goals? And how is the 4+1 the perfect opportunity to help you accomplish those goals? Think about unique components of the program and how they will benefit you. You must also submit 3 letters of recommendation. You also need to submit a separate internal form for major advisor review a plan. Basically, it's just your advisor just saying that, yes, this is a good fit for you. You do not need to submit your GREs. This is waived. And then you must also submit your official transcripts. So at this time, I'll pass it over to Charles Ariano, where we'll get into the financial aid aspect of the program.
Thank you, Ina, and thank you everyone for joining us today. So we're just going to go over a quick overview of what the anticipated cost of the program will be and what kind of financial aid that we offer. Ina? So before we do get into the cost of attendance, we want to define what the cost of attendance is. So the cost of attendance is comprised of billable items and non-billable items. Billable items are items that you will be charged for, such as tuition and fees. You have student activity fee, computer fee, health service fee, health insurance fee. The health insurance, which we'll go over in the next slide, can be waived, but these are items that you are automatically charged for. Non-billable items are comprised of like food and housing, books and supplies, and personal expenses. Changes in your living expenses, medical expenses that are not covered by insurance, if you receive tuition exemption, outside scholarships, or anything that changes in your cost of attendance can change your cost of attendance. You do have to submit documentation if some of these things do come up and you do need an increase in your budget. We do have something that's called the budget increase form that you can submit for that in order to increase your budget. And more importantly, any outside award affiliated with Columbia University and earmarked for tuition, you must report to the Office of Financial Aid. What that means is our own scholarships are earmarked for tuition only. And so if you're receiving an external scholarship that is also earmarked for tuition that's associated with Columbia University, then we have to review that to make sure that your scholarships that you're receiving do not exceed what the tuition cost is. Next. Now, in terms of discussing the cost for the tuition for the 4+1. So you are completing this at an accelerated pace, but please don't confuse that for being an accelerated student. You are already completing the first semester of your 2-year program during your 1 semester with us while you're still in undergrad. And then once you complete the core, you then attend our program the following September, and that's when you become a master's student. So the cost of completing our program at an accelerated pace, the master's portion of your program, is currently $71,194. We do anticipate this going up by 4% for next year. So you can probably calculate that to be a little over $73,000 for the 24-25 academic year. If you will be with us 25-26, then you want to add 4% to that amount that you get for 24-25, and you'll get an idea of what tuition will be 2 years down the road. We do have a one-time document fee at $105. This is a one-time charge and allows students to get access to any enrollment verification forms, any transcripts, anything regarding employment. There are some companies that do require that they verify your enrollment. So these are the things that are given to you with this documents fee. The computer network fee is $218 per semester. This is for access to our medical campus, our Wi-Fi, the medical campus Wi-Fi network, IT services, and actually goes towards the creation of your Columbia email. The student activity fee, which is currently at $150 per semester, covers workshops, symposiums, student groups, and anything regarding graduation preparation. The health service fee is $812 per semester. All students are required to pay this fee. This grants access to all services provided at the student health center and cannot be waived. Like I mentioned, the health insurance fee is currently at $17.25 for the fall, $28.16 for the spring. The reason why you see two separate charges is because you are charged on a per semester basis. However, for the spring, you're covered all the way through August. So that's why it's a more expensive fee in the spring term. This can be waived as long as you have medical coverage equal to or comparable to what Columbia offers. So when you do take a look at the tuition and fees along with the non-billable items, you're looking at a total cost of attendance of about $102,000 for the year. We anticipate this going up to about 104, 105 for 25, 26. This is sort of a template of what we budget students for the non-billable items. We do budget food and housing at $2,100 per month. Keep in mind that your cost of attendance is comprised of a 9-month academic year. So these numbers are based off of 9 months. Personal expenses about $2,300. We do budget you for books and supplies, transportation for public transportation for MTA or New Jersey Transit. The loan fee that you see there is not necessarily a charge. We do put that in the budget, which allows students to sort of recoup that if you are borrowing federal loans, and you decide to borrow additional federal loans like the Federal Graduate Plus loan, which we'll get into in about another minute or two. We do have a one-time budget increase for computer purchase that we do add to students anywhere between $1,200 to $2,000, depending on what you paid for. You would have to purchase the laptop. And once you purchase the laptop, you will then submit the documented proof, such as a receipt, and then we will include that in your budget, which will then allow you to recoup that in the form of a federal loan. So these are the types of non-loan based aid that we offer as a whole. Aside from need-based grants, all students are automatically considered for institutional scholarships. These are comprised of an academic merit scholarship, leadership awards, professional merit scholarships, etc. The academic merit awards are based off of the committee of your committee, the admissions committee review board. They will rank and score your application in comparison to your peers, and that is how we are able to review students for academic merit scholarships. Historically, 4+1 students have received up to $10,000 for the year. This may go up. It depends on what our budget will look like during your cohort. Need-based grants are solely based on your FAFSA. We look to see if you received any Pell Grant funding or if you borrowed subsidized loans at the undergraduate level, while also having an expected family contribution below $10,000. Some students do question the way that we review for need-based aid, in that they'll say that they have a low EFC and that they had institutional scholarships at the undergraduate level. When it comes to need-based per se, we go with what the Department of Education defines as need, which is a student who demonstrated eligibility to receive Pell Grant funding and borrowing subsidized loans. In order to borrow subsidized loans, you had to have demonstrated need based off the FAFSA. So that's what we go based off of. At the graduate level, most students have an EFC below 10,000. So we can't really base it off of that because we're not able to award need-based grants to 1,200 students. So we do add that extra level of eligibility with the Pell Grant and the subsidized loans. We also offer what's called a special program scholarship, which is a scholarship that we offer to all students who participate in one of our pipeline programs. This could be the BEST program, Primer, Health Career Connections, Summer Public Health Scholars Program. We do have a plethora of others. We do encourage you, when you do apply to the program, to self-identify if you participated in a pathway program. That's how we are able to identify students for the scholarship. If you apply to our program before December 15th, in your case, the following year or whether it's this year or next year, if you apply by December 15th and you are accepted into our program and participate in a pipeline program, you will automatically receive that scholarship. right now is currently $20,000 per year, or $30,000 for the accelerated program. So if you are interested in being considered for this particular scholarship, you want to make sure that you apply by the 15th of December. Next. This is some external sources of funding that students have often looked at and received external sources of funding. We got fastweb.com, scholarships.com, FNA.org. We do encourage you to search often and search any outside organizations dealing with public health, church groups dealing with public health, any state, federal programs dealing with public health. It does require you to do the work. We do recognize that students do have to apply to a number of external scholarships in order to receive a couple, but I can assure you, if you put in the work, if you do apply to as many as you can, you will come away with at least 3 or 4 of these scholarships. Next. There are some employment opportunities at the graduate level. The one notable one is the work-study program. The major difference between graduate federal work study and undergraduate federal work study is that we don't receive a lot of funding from the federal government at the graduate school. Please keep in mind that at the graduate level, funding is very scarce. So because it's a professional health degree, we don't receive federal funding. So there's no Pell Grant, there's no SEOG, there's no subsidized loans either at the graduate level. But we do offer a number of spots for work study. We can usually award about 35 to 40 students at a maximum of about $3,000. And this is also predicated on completing your FAFSA and demonstrating need. Graduate research assistantship positions are generally offered to doctoral students, although students who are pursuing MS degrees may be eligible for a GRA. You would want to inquire within your department. These typically provide a stipend and some tuition assistance. For teaching assistantship positions, these generally go to students during year 2 of their program. However, there are instances where students who are part of the 1-year accelerated program have been offered TA positions, and we do encourage you to reach out to your department once you get admitted, or the Office of Educational Initiatives who handle TA positions. They often cover a little bit of tuition, but it's mostly just a regular paycheck where you're TAing for about 10 to 15 hours a week. Next. Lastly, the bulk of your financial aid is generally comprised of federal direct loans. We do offer federal direct unsubsidized loans. As I mentioned, the subsidized loan is not a viable option at the graduate level. The unsubsidized loan is not awarded based on need, but rather as long as you complete a FAFSA and you haven't been flagged for anything federal, then you are eligible for it. The major difference between the unsubsidized loan and the subsidized loan is that interest does start to accrue the moment that the loan disperses. The maximum that you can borrow over a 9-month academic period is $33,000. So, for example, $33,000 is split evenly between the fall and spring at $16,500 per. So what it means is once the $16,500 disperses into your student account, interest will start accruing on that amount. In January, once the second half of your loan disperses, now the entire loan of $33,000 will start accruing interest. So be mindful of that when determining how much of the unsub loan to borrow. You do receive a 6-month grace period once you graduate before you have to start repayment. Please keep in mind, you must be at least half-time to be eligible for federal direct unsubsidized loan. The other federal direct loan that we offer is the Federal Direct Graduate Plus loan. This is the same as a Parent Plus loan, except the difference is that you have to apply for it as opposed to your parent. It is considered a soft credit check, so it's not a hard inquiry and doesn't affect your credit score. As long as you have some established credit, you will be eligible for the Federal Graduate Plus loan. You can generally apply for 4% more than what you are eligible to apply for to recover the processing fee. Keep in mind, the unsubsidized loan has about a 1.05% processing fee. The Graduate Plus loan has a 4% processing fee. Interest is charged from the moment that the loan disperses, but the major difference is that there is no grace period for the Graduate Plus loan. Repayment does start the moment you graduate. However, you do get the option of contacting your loan servicer and requesting what's called a forbearance, which is essentially the same thing as a grace period. The only difference is that you have to request it, And the forbearance you do have, I believe, is anywhere from 12 to 18 months of eligibility throughout the life of the loan. The interest rates also differ. So whereas the current interest rate for the unsubsidized loan is currently 6.54%, the Graduate Plus loan is always going to be about 1% more. So currently is at 7.54%. The amount that you are eligible to apply for in the Graduate Plus loan is the difference between your total cost of attendance and your financial aid. So for example, if your cost of attendance is $100,000 and you receive, let's say, $43,000 from us in financial aid, that means you can apply for up to $57,000 in a Graduate Plus loan. We do provide this application to students during the summer prior to the start of your semester. You cannot apply for this loan via the FAFSA. The other type of loan that students sometimes opt for is the private loan. Now, this is different from the federal loans in that it is a hard credit inquiry on your credit score. So generally, we do not advise students to apply for a private loan unless they have impeccable credit or unless their parents have great credit, because generally the rate is always going to be higher than the federal loans. Also, the rate for the private loans are generally not fixed, whereas the federal government loans are fixed. We do have a website. We do have a link on our website that takes you to Student Financial Services, where you can do your research on the suggested lenders that we use, generally Chase, Sallie Mae, Citibank, Discover, etc. There are no origination fees. So if you apply for $40,000, you actually do receive $40,000. Interest does accrue the moment that the private loan disperses. And lastly, just keep in mind that when you do apply for a federal government loan, you do have to complete what's called a master promissory note and an entrance counseling. Even though if many of you have borrowed federal loans currently and you completed these forms, because you're starting a new program, you will have to complete these new forms, and you can do that on studentaid.gov. Aside from that, I believe that is it for the financial aid.
Thank you so much, Charles. And I apologize, while I gave you an overview of student life, I failed to mention that we also offer student academic and personal support. My colleague, Mary Ryer, is actually in the space and can answer any questions that you have regarding student support services. So with that, we'll open it up to any questions that you have. Feel free to unmute, raise your hand, or just enter your question in the chat. We'll be happy to answer.
And just while we're waiting for questions, just to clarify in words, we do require for Barnard applicants that the math course prerequisite be Calculus 1. If you have AP credit for calculus, that counts. If you've transferred a calculus course credit to Barnard, that also counts. And I'm here to answer any questions about sort of the Barnard side of the application process as well. So if there are any folks out there who are hoping to apply by the December 1st deadline for this year's incoming cohort, I am happy to chat about that.
Hi, I have two questions. Number one, so I'm Barnard, and I noticed it says something about taking statistics. If I've taken calc already, do I also need to take stats? Like, would it help my application to have completed that as well?
It's not really a requirement on our side. The only thing that our faculty reviewers require is that a semester of calculus be completed.
Okay, and then my other question is regarding the tuition. I noticed it says something about buying a computer. If we do we need to? Is there a certain computer we need to buy for this program that we can't just use our own for?
No, that's just in there in the event, because sometimes we've had students whose laptops have died out or it's too old. I can't speak to what are sort of the specs that you need. I know that there are specific specs that a laptop should have just to kind of handle the enormity of the coursework and stuff that you need to download for some of the courses. But your typical laptop should be fine. That's more in the event that any current laptop that you have does break down and you do need to purchase a new laptop. Students can purchase it, and then we'll add it to your budget, and you can recoup that through the form of a additional federal loan.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So there's a question about whether it's possible to take course requirements pass-fail in the chat. Nora, are you asking about specifically like the prerequisite calculus course, or are you asking about courses taken at Mailman? Barnard courses. No, so the calculus course in particular needs to be taken for a letter grade. That's what our faculty require. If you are applying to environmental health sciences and you need the year of chemistry or the year of bio, then that should be taken for a letter grade as well.
Remember, the committee needs to ensure that you're able to handle the qualitative aspect of the core curriculum. That's why it's very important to have a grade for those courses. It's also a question on the application, and we'll ask for you to show evidence of your quantitative and analytical writing ability. So a lot of students just point to a course on their transcript, and there you just want to detail the objectives of the course, what were your learning outcomes. But yeah, so definitely with a letter grade. I'll share my email in the chat just in case any questions come up after the session. I'm happy to meet. We also schedule one-to-ones. And I'll be happy to give you tips on the application or answer any questions.
Yeah, and I also will put my email in there as well in the event that anyone has any questions regarding tuition, fees, or financial aid.
There's also a question about how applications are reviewed. So keep in mind that the 4+1 pathway application in particular is a special kind of application. So for 4+1 applicants, it's a two-step process. First, applications are submitted and reviewed by the Barnard faculty leads, and Barnard faculty leads make the first decision. We then send on a subset of the initial applications to our colleagues at public health, and then the individual departments are making the decision. So if you've applied to population and family health, they're going to get your application once it's at Mailman, and they're going to be considering you just as part of their typical applicant pool, right, guys?
Yeah, correct.
So with that in mind, oh, go ahead, sorry.
What makes the accelerated program worth it compared to doing the 2-year program? Like, in your opinion, do you think it's better to do the accelerated program and kind of get your master's quicker for other opportunities? Or is this just if you want to, but it's more recommended to do the 2-year slower program?
Yeah, so I think the benefit comes with getting your degree conferred earlier, because let's say you do the regular 2-year MPH, your degree won't be conferred until June, let's say 2026 at that point. Whereas if you do the 4+1, it would be conferred in October of 2025, for example. So that is the benefit. You're just getting access to the job market earlier in public health. But I would recommend the 2-year MPH if you kind of want to take your time with the public health aspect. You do get that additional certificate, which I mentioned the benefits of that. It's if you want to dive deeper into your department of interest, take additional courses, or maybe you want to get expertise in another area of public health to join with your discipline, right? So I think that's up to you what you want to get out of the program. Those 2 years go by really quick. So if you think that certificate sounds really cool and exciting, I will go for the 2-year MPH. I hope that helps. If not, I'm happy to meet to speak about your career outcomes outside of this to see which would be a better fit for you.
It's also definitely something you can chat with us at Beyond Barnard about. I think for different people, the answer is going to look different. You know, we've all lived through a really weird past few years, and public health is a big and continually growing field. There are lots of people who go into public health, and you know, some do it through the 4+1, but there are many, many, many other options for students as well. So, you know, if this feels like the right fit, definitely please apply. But if you think that a different structure for a public health education is going to work for you, that's also something that we can help you think about.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna pop in the chat one more time. This is the link to the Beyond Barnard page for the 4+1 pathway. There are links here to the actual application form. So if there are juniors who are planning to apply this fall, excuse me, you can link directly to the Mailman application there. You'll be able to request your transcripts. You'll be able to have letters sent to the application itself. So all of that sort of stuff is going to be collected. The only thing that you need to do outside of the application is finish that course completion form. And that's linked here as well. You can email that to us at beyondbarnard@barnard.edu. And after the December 1st application deadline, we will be contacting the applicants whom our faculty leads want to interview. So more to come as you're submitting things. But of course, if you've got questions between us, you know, between me and Ina and Mary and Charles, we can figure out answers over the course of the next couple of months as you're working toward the application. Any last questions? Okay. Well, I want to say thanks to my Mailman colleagues for being here. Thank you all for coming to learn a little bit about the pathway. And please do let us know as you have questions. Okay. Have a great day.
Thank you all for
Take care.
being here.
Thank you everyone for coming.
Hi, thank you, Amanda.
Bye.